This is Taking Stock on ENCA. Welcome, I'm Bruce Whitfield. Well, our first guest this evening, 4 years ago, the Standard Bank Group raised eyebrows and lifted the lid to outside scrutiny when it made an unconventional executive appointment. Actually, it made two executive appointments. It named two executives to head up the lender's operations, a structure that one of the top four banking groups in South Africa recently moved away from. After spending almost 2 decades going through the echelons of the institution, Soweto-raised Rhodes University graduate Sim Shabalala now heads Standard Bank as sole chief executive after holding the joint position with a man called Ben Kruger. He now is an executive director of the group. Well, Sim Shabalala is taking stock with us today. Was that structure ever actually necessary?
Bruce, it was. It was absolutely necessary. Let me take you back to where we were at the time. We had operations as far-flung as Argentina, Turkey, Russia. We had a reasonably sophisticated investment bank in the United Kingdom. The laws and regulations were changing. There was less liquidity. We needed greater capital requirements in that business. And we had a burgeoning business here in South Africa and a fast-growing business outside South Africa. One person could have done it, but I think the leaders of the bank, led by the board, were of the view that we would be well advised to try a dual CEO structure, given the far-flung operations and given the pressure on the institution. And I have to say to you, it was a wise thing to do.
Did it work?
I think it worked.
Did you fight?
We had intense debates. We senior people, we've got views, we've got perspectives. But you know, we are consistent and we are similar to one another in our values, and we always got to the right answers that were in the best interest of Standard Bank.
How awkward is it now? I mean, you've been colleagues for a long time. I mean, you've been on the Standard Bank Exco for more than a decade together. The board then makes a decision to make you both chief executives, and now Ben reports to you.
It has been seamless, and it has been as seamless as it was seamless when the appointment was made. You remember, Bruce, Ben, myself, and Peter Wharton-Hood were joint deputy CEOs.
And what happened when he didn't get the top job? He left and he went off to Deutsche Bank. Does that mean Ben is going to leave now too?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't follow. It's a non sequitur. As you're a lawyer too, and you know that that's a non sequitur. No,
please don't insult me. I'm not a lawyer. I trained as a journalist. I have standards.
So Ben and I have been talking consistently from day one about what works, what will work best, what's efficient, what does he want to do with his career and his life, what do I want to do with my career and my life. And he's quite comfortable in this reporting structure, as comfortable as I am, because you also know this, Bruce, that at that level of the organization, nobody makes a single decision on their own. I will be ultimately accountable, but there is not a single decision I will make on my own. I will always be getting advice, input from my partners.
Every book you read on leadership, though, talks about the loneliness of leadership.
Yes.
And up until now, you've had a buddy to bounce things off. You're equals, first among equals almost. Yes. And now you're pushed into that position. It's almost like everybody steps back and goes, okay, guy, you're on your own now, because ultimately the buck will stop with you. Things go well, you'll be well rewarded. Things don't go so well, it's Sim Shabalala. He's the guy.
Yes, that's true, but time will tell. It still feels to me like it'll feel exactly the same as it did before, because I still felt accountable, I still felt responsible. I still felt that if things went wrong, I would take full accountability. If things went well, I would share that with the team. I'm not sure that it'll change, but let's see what happens. Time will.
Was this always the Sim Shabalala plan as a Rhodes University law student? And I remember you had your pack, you had your posse as you moved through Rhodes University as one of the more serious students at Rhodes University. Was this always the plan?
No, Bruce. The plan was I had ambitions to be a lawyer.
A human rights lawyer.
A human rights lawyer at
Nogal.
that. Yes, Nogal. Yes. I even did a master's in human rights. So the intention was to become a lawyer.
Where did it all go wrong?
One winter's afternoon when I received a call from Adrian Vardy as I sat at my desk at Bowman Gilfillan looking at that pack of files, timesheets, and trying to muster the courage to read another letter, a strongly worded letter from a counterpart. And I got a call from Adrian Voddy, who was a director at Eurolink at the
Real
time.
Africa
Real
Eurolink.
Africa Eurolink, yeah.
They went bust eventually, didn't they?
After I'd left.
After you'd left, of course.
And they got taken over by if I recall, by PSG, which in turn got taken over by ABSA. Yeah, I got a call, was given a description of what was available. It sounded interesting. I knew that it was a lot better than what I was doing, and I joined, and I'm glad I did.
How did the Standard Bank move happen?
We had a fallout, difference of opinion with the owner-managers at the time, and we decided that it was best. So myself and, at the time, in fact, I can tell people this, Peter Schlebusch was also a member of that team, yes. So Peter and myself and the other guys just differed, and we decided to leave.
And all of you went across to Standard Bank, or certainly Peter Schlebusch also
no, he went
into the ranks. Okay, so he came to Standard Bank as well and has been running your Africa business for a long time, and the retail business of Standard Bank too.
Yes, so Peter came later. I left in early in 2000, and Peter joined in 2001, 2002, if I remember correctly.
When you arrived at Standard Bank and you went into that executive suite on one of the many floors in downtown Johannesburg, and you looked at the expensive artworks hanging on the walls, did you think, I've arrived? This is the place where I'm going to spend my career?
Bruce, I walked into Standard Bank, saw beautiful artwork. I don't know how expensive it was. Saw an open plan arrangement, settled in, and felt, yeah, this is where I could spend the rest of my career.
Because, I mean, the team that Jacques Marie put together was a team that he designed to fight off the advances of Nedbank. Nedbank wanted to buy Standard Bank, and then the global financial crisis hit, and you were in that open plan environment. And at that time, Standard Bank was almost emulating SAB Miller, or kind of thought it could emulate SAB Miller and go global. As beer sales happened, banking could happen the same way. Global financial crisis happened, and suddenly your world must have stopped in that moment.
Yes, so for a long time, Standard Bank was doing really well. It was the darling of the investment community. You know, up until 2007, 2008, it was growing very fast. It had a big international business. In fact, that business would have been one of the top 5 banks in the country if it had been a separate institution at the time. It was growing, it was building assets, acquiring people, and it was going gangbusters. Come the global financial crisis, liquidity dries up, the competitive landscape changes, the regulatory environment changes, and we came to the conclusion that actually we got to go back to the fundamentals. Who are we? We're a financial institution headquartered in Johannesburg, an African business. Let us use the assets we've got, which is the network on the continent, and let us take the capital that is outside Africa and repatriate it to Africa.
How disappointing was it, though, for a group of people, clever people, ambitious people, wanting to take the world by storm? Almost like an Icarus moment. You flew close to the sun, and the wax and the wings melted, and you tumbled down to earth. Is it as dramatic as that?
It was... Standard Bank people are stewards, Bruce, and you know them. You know the history of that group of people. We were sanguine. We took a view that said what's in the best interests of Standard Bank and its stakeholders. To continue to try and compete globally does not make sense. The world is moving to regional players, and we are best players as a regional player, and that was the right thing to do. It was not nice, it was difficult, but we made the decision and we've stuck to it. And we're getting the benefit of having stuck to that strategy now.
More on this conversation in just a couple of minutes' time. Of course, South African banks in the political crosshairs. They've taken some big and some quite controversial decisions, particularly in recent months. This is Taking Stock on ENCA. More with Shabalala in just a moment.